and you see the consequence. Almost half the audience have gone back, but that doesn't much matter. Those who are really interested, you have come here again to have some fruitful discussion with two of the best speakers that we ever had. I am not make any extempore comments about their lectures because you all have enjoyed them, and each lecture has been a glorious example of its own. At least 30 to 40 stanzas of Bhagavad Gita or verses of Bhagavad Gita were recited in the morning, and our respected Swamiji said that 16th, 17th and 18th chapters of Bhagavad Gita are most prominent. And he took the example of the 14th chapter to show the significance of the three gunas as they are. A series of points came up. In that more than 1 hour's lecture that he gave, we had a number of topics covered, some very briefly and some very elaborately. A few points were almost new. We had not heard that for a long time, or we had not heard them at all, and it was a very illuminating moment. The afternoon session was much more than what I expected because he is such a humorous, excellent scholar. I wish my mathematics teacher was like him. I would have been a better mathematician than what I was. You could see the scholarship plus the technique of exposition very clearly, because he started from Swabhava and Swadharma and then gave an entirely different kind of interpretation for the Varna system. The 2 points that we carry home today, one is, as Swamiji said, Bharatavarsha. We are not Indians anymore. We go back about 600 or 700 years back to enjoy the glorious atmosphere perhaps that was there. It was actually of the Bharat. The second point in the afternoon, his interpretation about Chaturvarnya was very exemplary. In fact, it's very new. Though he manipulated in a mathematical way, which I totally do not agree, but it's very elaborating. I will ask him one particular question later on because fundamentally it's bothering me about it. But his classification and the reinterpretation of what Shankaracharya had said about that is very illuminating. Plus, he has mixed up his own intellect to broaden the 3 characters into 6, 6 into 28. And then you can know he has given you enough knowledge as to classify yourself and fit into one of the slots of the 28. And as I said, do it without any kind of guilty conscience. You will be benefited from that kind of thing. So without further elaboration, I now throw the discussion open, and then you are most welcome to ask the questions. As usual, as we have said in both the 2 earlier sessions, make the questions direct, simple, and up to the point. Now we can have the questions, please. Your name?
My name is Sundar.
Oh.
The Bhagavad Gita is such a beautiful text and covers so much ground. Can I ask each of you for your one sloka that inspired you the most or pleased you the most?
I didn't get that question properly.
One sloka in the Bhagavad Gita which appeals you most. One sloka in the Bhagavad Gita which you think is the best. Which appeals you the most.
One sloka. I always said that in the morning. Be sattvic karta, mukta sango nahamvadi dhrityatsaha samandita, siddhi siddhyo nirvikara karta sattvika uchyate. If every one of us become sattvic karta, then world will live in peaceful harmony. There is no doubt about it.
You wanted one shloka from the entire Gita? This is a tall order, but it is interesting. I will tell you one shloka, but say, remember to get it by heart and do what it says. One shloka. Third chapter, number 30. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasyasyatma chetasam nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. From the innermost recesses of your heart, throw all your actions on me. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Nirashi, without any expectations or aspirations or hopes. Nirashi, nirmamaha, without egoism. Yudhyasva, go and fight. Vigatajvaraha, without excitement. See all this. You have to fight, which means carry on your daily life and your duties, your obligations. Vigatajvaraha, no excitement, no attachment, no passionate excitement, no nothing. Nirashi, nirmamaha, the complete karma yoga is there. The entire Gita action, people are wanting recipe. This is the recipe. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirbamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Yudhyasva, you are supposed to carry on your duties, obligations, which are challenges in daily life. Face the challenges.
Very good.
But there are several one slokas like this. That is the beauty of the Gita.
His point is, since Gita is the very essence of all Upanishads, only 700 shlokas, why not one slok from 700?
In fact, you remember this morning, he gave the sloka Uddhare Atmana Atmana.
Yes,
That is one of the
best.
You are the friend, you are your own enemy. Try to uplift yourself.
You want another recipe, I can tell you. The point is, I know several recipes. Whether I follow them or not, that's a different question.
Who is your
Yatkaroshi yadashnasi yadjuhosi dadasi yattapasyasi kahunteye tatkurushvamadarpanam. Chapter 9, Shloka 27. Beautiful shloka, that is enough. Gita teaches 5 things. 5 things. Whether Dr. Abhayankar agrees with me or not, Gita teaches only 5 things. Right? What are the 5 things? Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga,
Jnana Yoga.
Brahma Bhava, Yoga Sadhana, and surrender, Prapatti. Yoga Sadhana, it tells you various places what you have to do in order to control your senses. Control your senses. That is Tasmat Tvam Indriya Anyadau Niyamya Bharata Rishabha. So that is the first thing you have to do, which says Adau Tasmat Tvam Indriyani Adau Niyamya. So like that. So then Brahma Bhava, Brahma Arpanam Brahma Ravi Brahma No Brahmana, that shloka. So Brahma Bhava. Karma Yoga, certainly you can take this shloka which I just now said for the Karma Yoga, or so many other shlokas are there. Karma Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is there. As I told you, Yatkaroshi Adashnanasi. Right? You know so many shlokas. And then Prapatti. So these 5, you go into any part of the Gita, it will fall into one of these 5 classifications. 5 teachings the Gita does. Thank you. Good.
Introspect and think towards what thing, which way, which pathway your mind and intelligence lead yourself. Whether it is karma, whether it is socially dynamic, whether you are devotional, whether you are mystic, or you want to tread on the pathway of integral knowledge. Decide on your own. Or take the help of Sadhguru.
Talking in a very later mood, one sloka is very common in Singapore, especially in our meetings. Even before the arati is complete, Brahma, Arpana, Brahmavi. So you understand the significance of it, but Brahmarpanam is most important. It has, especially for the last few years I am observing, it's very, very common.
And when I said the 5 points, 5 teachings of the Gita, it is not mine. It is Gita itself. Shloka number 55, chapter 11. Matkarmakran mat paramaha mat bhakta sangha varjitaham nirvairas sarva bhuteshu yasamam eti pandava. For this shloka, in the introduction to the commentary, Shankaracharya writes, here the Lord is giving in essence the complete saramsha of the Gita for ordinary people to follow. Here are the 5. He says it. So that is what I am. Mat karma kriti, mat paramaha, mat bhaktaha, sangha varjitaha, that is the yoga sadhana. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu, no enmity. Remember, this no enmity business is the Brahma Bhava. Unless you think of everyone as a Brahman, this no enmity will not come. That is why, even in Sahana Vavatu, think of it, Sahana Vavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Saha Virjan Karavavahai, Tejasvin Avadhitamastu. So far it is about education and joint reading and so on. Now what is the next? Ma Vidvishavahai. Where did it come? How does it fit there? Ma Vidvishavahai. That Ma Vidvishavahai is the hallmark of Hindu religion. That is why it is there in Sahana Vavatu also. That is the Brahma Bhava. Ma Vidvishavahai. Anyway, go on.
In comparison, Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, in comparison, I am telling you, they are easier than Dhyana Yoga and Jnana Yoga. One of my disciples, he stays in Mumbai. And once he told me that whenever I perform yogasanas, particularly Shirshasana, my mother catches my feet. And she says, oh son, for God's sake, don't do this. If you fall on the left side, there is TV. If you fall on the right, there is a new crockery recently bought. So for God's sake, don't do that. Then I asked him, what's wrong? You can perform other yogasanas. There is no problem. There is Swastikasana, there is Paschimottanasana, there is Nagasana, then Dhanurasana, and Mayurasana, and Tadasana, and Shavasana, and Shalvasana, Sarvangasana, what not. There are more than 1,000 yogasanas. His answer was very typical. He said, the place we have got in Mumbai is such that I can perform only one asana over there, Shirshasana. It's very difficult to find the proper place for dhyana. You have to go to the temple, you have to go to the forest, you have to go to the penance door, which is very difficult in modern times. So the pathways of meditation and contemplation as well as of integral knowledge, they're always difficult. But Krishnamurthy has said is absolutely correct. Because pathway of devotion is comparatively easy. Even if we are not knowledgeable, there is no problem in chanting the name of Narayana. And Prapatti is Sharanagati. You surrender at the lotus feet of the Almighty, and that absolute, that ultimate reality might bless you, provided you are having very pure heart.
Next question, please. Yeah.
Lady was asking something.
Yeah.
I have two questions. My first question is for Professor Krishnamurthy. And that question is, at this particular moment, coming from a little bit of anger. You mentioned that if something unpleasant or something more than unpleasant or bad is God's will. Now, just during the break, I had bought 9 books downstairs. During the tea break, I leave them here under my chair. I come back and they are gone.
Oh my goodness. Did you get it?
I have to say to myself, that's God's will.
Somebody has to translate the question for me. I don't
Krishnamurthy.
get it.
Yeah, I think she had bought 9 books from downstairs and it was kept here during the tea break. And when she went for the tea break, all the 9 books were lost when she came back. So somebody has stolen the books from her. So she's particularly angry about it.
No, okay, I can forget about it, but it's not an amount. It is the idea. It is the idea that I'm here in a sort of spirit, that I'm in a spiritual group, that I'm between spiritual people, and that I still feel groups are sticking everywhere. It's probably a difficult, that is the most difficult part. Not books on the total, we bought them for $4, $5, $6. I can live with that. But the idea that you are that everyone sort of pretends to be here on the spiritual path. I leave books behind, my water bottle is here, and I come back from the tea break, it's all gone. God's will.
So what is the question now?
So what is the exact question now?
If you can elaborate a little
How do you
bit
see
more.
it as God's will? How do you see that as God's will?
Is it God's will?
Yes. That is the question.
She purchased 9 books, left in her chair. When she
Somebody-
came back after the tea break, the books were gone.
All books.
All books were gone.
What a pity.
She does not know who has taken them. And she asked the question, is it the will of God?
Is it the will of God? Oh, only God will have to answer this question. Because, you see, you are the one who is the sufferer.
Yeah.
By my saying it is the will of God, it doesn't console you. Right? Until the feeling that comes to you that it is the will of God, until you are convinced, you will not get any solace. Now, the people who know, seers, rishis, the scriptures, they say that whatever happens is the will of God. Now, I believe it so long as that book is not mine. But you have to believe it even when that book is yours. This is the crux of the problem. So for you to ask me that question, I'm sorry.
I hope you will get your books back.
We hope you will get your books
Back.
But I would like to say a few things.
But we shall pray to God. We shall pray to God that you get your books. That we will all join. We will all join. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, please for half a minute pray to God that she gets back her books.
But it's very sad if the books are gone. It's really bad inside.
I understand.
I just a minute. I recall one incident, please. We were having lectures in the USA, and it happened that in your state we were having those lectures, and my son was driving a car. And you know, many tolls over there, they don't have the human beings over there. Everything is controlled by the machine. Unfortunately, we were supposed to pay 75 cents to cross that toll. We did not have change, and the toll was not installed with changing machine. That was the problem. So my son said, it is not our fault, it is the fault of the American government. We simply go. We went over there, had lecture. When we came back, after 7 days, he got a love letter from the government. We stated that you broke the rule on day so and so time. There was a photograph of our car, everything. And $25 fine was mentioned in the letter. The finest system in America, that money is directly deducted from your bank account. They don't ask you to come to the office and pay the amount. My son wrote a letter, also phoned them, that since there was no changing machine over there, we couldn't pay and we did not have the change. A man in person, he came, he checked out whether there was really no changing machine over there. Then he came to offer his thanksgiving to my son, said, "You have brought to our notice. We are really grateful to you. Thank you very much. Today we are going to install the machine." And we got the letter from the government again that the money deducted from your account, they have been redeposited with interest. This is how the great nations are built. So, sister, I felt really glad with it. That the books that you purchased, that the whole audience is well educated. This is the place where the people are highly educated, highly civilized. But there is every possibility the books might have been taken to the office. There is every possibility, and they must have been preserved properly. So before leaving this campus, please check out in the office.
Yes.
My apologies.
We shall try about those books. Now, next question on Gita, please.
Yes, my question is directed to Professor Shankar.
Abhayankar.
Yeah. You just mentioned about Bhakti Yoga, and the way I heard it is that Bhakti Yoga ultimately may be easier than Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and the other paths. In my experience, when I came from the West to live in the East in 1972, and then I became interested in what the Eastern religions and spiritual philosophies had to teach. The absolutely most difficult thing is going into Bhakti Yoga, into that final state of surrender. It was easier to chant, it was easy to chant, it is easy to pray, it is easy to be in that vibration with the others in the chanting. And it is easy to go to the temple, it's easy to go and to do an offering and all that. But when I started to understand that finally also when you're on the path of Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, ultimately we have to go in that Bhakti Yoga. But the way I understand it is that is finally about the complete surrender. That has been my struggle. Can you explain that?
I understand. Yeah. It's a good question that you asked. As far as concerned with the pathway of devotion, there are two different planes. They are called as Gauni Bhakti and Para Bhakti. Gauni is at the lower level, lower plane, and Para Bhakti, that is the higher Bhakti, is at the higher plane. One has to lead oneself from the rituals of devotion, like worshipping God, going to the temple, reciting and chanting the mantras and the stotras. Everything is for disciplining oneself. That is absolutely necessary in every pathway. Maybe Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana and Jnana Yoga. So this is necessary to discipline oneself. After that, slowly and gradually, you can elevate yourself. In Bhagavad, 9 steps have been given. You might have learned about them. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. This is a 9-fold of 9 staircases. You begin with listening, with a rapt attention, Shravan. Then Kirtan, singing the praise of the Lord. That is number 2. Chanting the name of the Lord is Namasmaran. That is 3rd. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuho Smaranam Padasevanam. Surrendering oneself at the lotus feet of the spiritual master of one's own deity. Stage number 4. Archana. Archan, that is to worship the icon in the temple or even in a small place at home. it needs a kind of discipline again to worship the Lord. Because you have to devote yourself, give special time for that. You must master the technique of it. You must be able to recall all the mantras together, all the verses together. This is how you slowly and gradually elevate yourself. Vandan is a form of humility. You might have seen around the world that there are very few people who are modest and full of humility. Otherwise, the world is full of different kind of different natures and people who trade on the different paths also. So Vandan Bhakti is that kind of devotion which begets humility. Then Dasya Bhakti, that you offer your services in the temple. Anything, even if you are being asked to sweep the temple or the complex of it, you have to do that. That is Dasya Bhakti. Anything. Then Sakhya Bhakti, that is to make friends with God, what Arjun did actually. But it comes at a very later stage. And Lord Krishna has rightly pointed out in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kashchid yatati siddhe yatatam api siddhanam kashchid mam vetti tattvataha. It takes years, it takes the cycle of birth and rebirth, because Hindu Dharma believes in the cycle of birth and rebirth. It believes in the principle of human soul also. So Sakhya Bhakti is to make friends with the Lord. And it's in the human nature. You may probably not tell your parents even your secrets, but you tell your friends your secrets. That's why Arjun became a good friend of Lord Krishna. And finally Atma Nivedan, where a devotee becomes one with the Lord. Slowly and gradually this evolution comes, provided you tread very piously on the pathway of devotion, that you enlarge your heart. Prapatti is again fivefold. Anukulasya sankalpa. Whatever is preferred and good to the Lord, you must do all those things only. Pratikulasya varjanam. Shun totally, avoid what is not thought good for the Lord. Okay. Rakshaishabhiti, have complete faith in Lord that He will protect you. There are so many things together. So this is how slowly and gradually you get evolved towards the higher plane and ultimately come to Parabhakti.
To say anything?
Bhagavad Gita says that have the eyes of knowledge for your action and have the heart of devotion for your actions. So in a way it is a combination, it's a confluence of all the yogas together. All the housewives, they practically perform all the yogas together. Preparing food is a karma yoga. That is their daily ritual, their daily karma. Preparing food, cooking the food is their karma yoga. To serve the food in a dish, in a very neat and proper order, is bhakti yoga. And that cooked food must have a refined taste. That is jnana yoga. Writing the answer sheet is karma yoga of any student. To present it beautifully with a clean hand, beautiful hand, is bhakti yoga. And to present the exact answers, actually jnana yoga. Knowingly, unknowingly, we do all those things. So Bhagavad Gita stresses the need that every action should have the heart of devotion and the eyes of knowledge.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Two questions. First question is on the ashrama system. Brahmacharya, Gahastya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So this was practiced in the early times in India. So what do you think about its role today? Today I see that most of the old people, they just sit in front of the TV and because they are already retired, even people who are able to work are not able to because there's no work for them. So they simply sit in front of the TV and most of the time today, even unnecessarily, IT people say for themselves. So there is one problem. So there is no that the Vanaprastha and the Sannyasa, what is its relevance today? And how can what can the only people do? So this is my first question.
Hindu Dharma, the core of Hindu Dharma is Varnashrama Dharma, what we call. The other learned speaker has thrown ample light on Varna system. Just I would like to add one more thing. Varna means profession. The human world cannot live without professions. Teaching is a profession. Being politician is a profession. To be a merchant, trading is a profession. And giving service, offering service is also a profession. So you can come to any period in human history, professions are eternal. And these professions, they are called as the Varna system in Hindu Dharma. Okay, is that clear? Varna has nothing to do with caste. Caste is decided by the birth, while Varna is decided by the profession. There was total freedom to change your life. The striking example is that of Vishwamitra, who was a king, but later he became Brahmarshi. Itara was a maid servant. Her son, he became Maharshi and wrote Aitareya Upanishad. So there was total freedom to change your profession. Varna has nothing to do with caste, one thing. Coming to the fourfold system of ashramas, Brahmacharya ashram is to be devoted for
learning,
gaining knowledge, vidya. Grihastha ashram is to repay all the debts together. Deva Runa, Rishi Runa, Pitru Runa and Manushya Runa. Vanaprastha is to get retired from the family life by mind and intelligence, and all the expertise that you have gained throughout your life should be given to the society and to the nation without expecting anything from anyone. It's a selfless service to be given. And sannyas ashram is totally getting unattached to this material world and seek for the spiritual attainment. This is the order. So there is one verse in Sanskrit language which says, Prathame narjita vidya. If you haven't gained the knowledge in first 25 years, Dvitiya narjitam dhanam, in next 25 years you haven't gained money. Tritiya narjitam punyam, in the third stage, from 50 onwards to 75, you haven't accumulated the religious merit. Chaturthi kim karishyasi, what will you do in the last stage? That is the question asked. So there is also a story which tells us that there was a Pandit who was crossing Ganga river, and it happened that the boatman was illiterate. So the first question he asked him, have you read the Vedas and the Upanishads? And the boatman said, I am very poor fellow, he said. I did not have proper formal education. Pandit said, 25 years of your life were gone. Then he asked him, okay, all right, but at least have you read the Ramayana and the Mahabharata?
nothing.
Nothing is said. Sir, I don't have any formal education. I am an illiterate person. I cannot read. 50 years are gone, he said. You are good for nothing. At least have you read Kabir, Surdas, Tulsidas? He said, no sir, a few sentences, only few verses I learned from my father. That's all, nothing beyond. 75 years gone, he said. And the next moment, there was the cyclone. And the boat was tossed on the tides of the river. And the only question boatman asked to that Pandit, the learned scholar, he asked him one question, Panditji, can you swim? And he said, no, then 100 years gone, he said.
Whole life is gone.
Whole life is gone. So knowledge is always applicable. Hence I said, Lakshmi is applied science and Saraswati is pure science. Now, truly speaking, in Kali Yuga, only 2 ashrams are living at present. Brahmacharya partially and Grihastha ashram totally, surplus in fact. more than necessary. Now there are no penance grows in our country, very few places in our country where you can go and stay over there and offer your services, give your knowledge to the world. But even in your family, you can become vanaprastha by getting slowly and gradually unattached. Have less greed, have less temptation. This can be achieved provided you are the follower of Gita. This is not achieved in a day. It is impossible. Nobody is ready to give up that easily, particularly the mother-in-laws. Never give up. So it does not happen in a moment. It is but natural. What you are doing throughout your life cannot be given up in a moment. But vanaprastha also can be achieved in one's own life by getting slowly and gradually unattached to the family. That mamatva is gone. I, me, my is gone. Okay? This is a vanaprastha. And you just teach to the next generations, not only in the family, but in the lane where you stay. Wherever possibly, you can offer your services to the temple, to the good organizations. You can offer all your services. This is how you can make your vanaprastha more meaningful. Now, sannyas ashram, there are different kinds of sannyas. One is kutichak, other one is bahuta, third one is house, fourth is paramhouse, fifth is atur, sixth is vividisha. There are so many kinds. But kutichak sannyas can be practiced by staying in the family itself. You can eat once only, give everything up, and leave for that parmarthik satta, for the spiritual attainment only. This can be achieved partially. It is very difficult in modern times because the entire universe was man-centered. Now it has become money-centered. And that's why many such ashramas, they have come up where the old people, they are neglected, they are practically thrown over there, and their sons, and they just provide the money over there. They say, sorry, come on, take the money and look after my parents. This is terrible. So Devaruna, Rishi Runa, God has created everything. Mr. Krishnamurthy was talking about it. What is in India is man-made. What is in the nature is God-made. That is true. Absolutely. If Gita is true, and if you accept Gita, you must accept Varna Ashram as well. Because Varnas are not created by any human being. Chatur Varnam Maya Srittam Gudakarma Vibhagasha. That is what Lord Krishna has very specifically mentioned. So you must be in a position to accept what has Lord said in Bhagavad Gita. If you are true lovers and true swadhyayi of Bhagavad Gita, you are Gita Vrati aise, unflinching devotees of Bhagavad Gita. You must be able to follow that. So in modern times, you can follow first two, partially the last two ashramas. You can do that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mine is a confusion in myself. Okay, so that's why I would like to pose it as a question. The way of life that we always been hearing from Bhagavad Gita is, you need to have a sattvic nature, we should have tolerance in general with everything. But in a practical day-to-day life, however sattvic you want it to be within yourself, you will get irritated, you will get confronted by people who will evoke your rakshasity. How much ever you would like to contain with your sattvic guna, and then this is happens on a day-to-day life, including today, when we are trying to do something good, we have to fight with somebody to make that good thing happen. And then looking back, you think that, the one way that you can maintain your sattvic good is not to get involved in it.
So that may result in just witnessing something which is not right thing, or accepting the injustice, whatever it is. But most of the time, it will not be possible for people with some values. So my question to you is, from all the three eminent people there is, how do you make sure that you develop sattvic gun towards all these things happens in our day-to-day life, whether it's in house or whether it's in MRT train or whether it's in office, wherever it is, and then maintain or improve our tolerance to really practice this sattvic path.
Thank you. A very significant question has been asked. Finally got the chance to ask a question because he was giving that godless mic and serving from hand to hand. The question is most welcome, it's very significant and very important for us. Now he has said there are people around in our society and in the nation. They will make you rise your tamogun sometimes, rakshasi swabha. This again depends upon chatur varna mayasrisham gunakarma vibhavasha. If a person is a Brahmin, he must forgive everyone. If he is a Kshatriya, he must take the revenge. But the revenge is not for the personal cause, it's for the welfare of the mankind. If he is a Vaishya, he is not supposed to take the revenge, but he is supposed to offer his money for more moral and ethical ways. You cannot give up sattva guna for any illegal, for any immoral cause. Always remember that. Because any doctrine which has been preached in Bhagavad Gita is related to the basic principles of human life, basic fundamental human values and virtues of human life. They are not related to the individuals, remember. We take it personally and then where we go wrong. Any basic principle is related to the highest human values. They are not related to the sorrows and sufferings and happiness of anyone. No. Shankaracharya has rightly proclaimed, he has made three different stages. Prativasik Satta, Vyavaharik Satta, and finally Paramarthik Satta. Prativasik Satta is that where we see with our own naked eyes mileage on the roads during the summer. We see the water on the road, but that is not true. That is Prativasik Satta. Vyavaharik Satta is that state where everything changes every moment and ultimately perishes. Whatever small, whatever big that you create, the day will come, it will get perished. Any suffering, any sorrow, any happiness, everything is gone in Paramarthik Satta when you have that spiritual attainment. So the principles are related to the highest human values, not to the sorrow or sufferings or the calamities or the happiness of human beings. Always remember that. So it is the question how much fortitude and fervor that you are having within to fight the injustice. There are moral ways, there are ethical ways to fight for the cause. Everybody comes across injustice in the life. That's why Bhagavad Gita's greatest message is non-duality. We live in the world of duality. If there is a truth, a lie must follow that truth. If there is justice, there must be injustice. There is no escape, remember that. If there is good, evil must be the other side of it. They are the two sides of the same coin. In practical life, we just cannot escape that. The question is where you stand, which side you stand for. You must stand for truth, all the goodness, all the virtues, all the fundamental human values. We complain about the injustice done to the maximum, the best principle to practice in human life is to compare one's own happiness with those people who are having less happiness than ours. And compare your sorrows and sufferings with those people who are having much more than ours. People do the exactly the other way around. They always compare their own happiness says, with the greater happiness they see around, they see, I am having 4 bedrooms, but that fellow lives in 6-bedroom Bangalore. That creates the problem. So always compare your happiness with those who are having less.
Correct.
There are many countries in Africa, in other countries also, where people stay on footpath. We stay much better than that. What God has not given to us, He has provided, He has given everything to us. So always remember to compare your sorrows with those who are having more sufferings. And Lord Krishna and Prabhu Ramachandra, they are the greatest example on this planet. Throughout their lives, they fought against the evil only. Nothing was in their favor. But till then, they turned the entire wheel of the time and established the fundamentally human values for the betterment of the mankind. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's why the Englishman said, count your blessings all the time. That helps actually. Now, I've got only one question, and that's I'm going to ask Professor here. I really appreciated the classification that you did and the 28 groups and all that. But do you really believe that anybody can be having 600?
I don't know. Probably even Yudhishthira did not have it.
Yeah, that's
Even
what
Yudhishthira did not have
Because
it.
the
If at
other-
all anybody can be thought of about the 600, yeah, Yudhishthira must
Only the Lord Himself.
thought
Only
of.
the Lord. Only the Lord.
Only the Lord. Sattva, all Sattva means no, Lord.
See, what we know is 006 is very common. That you need not to make too much effort, actually, you will find everywhere. But apart from the finance side of it, I thought that's absolute classification is not possible. Because Gita himself said everybody is a combination of all the three.
Yeah,
Sattva,
yeah,
Rajas, Tamas. Only sometimes one will get up more than the other two, something like that. I just wanted to...
In fact, I tried to put Duryodhana somewhere, but still I am not decided where to put Duryodhana.
Yeah. Because I tell you one small joke about this one. You all have heard about sage Vasishtha. Vasishtha was something like grandfather of Vyasa.
Yes.
And it so happens,
Great-grandfather.
and it so happens that my Gotra also is Vasishtha Gotra.
We belong to same.
One day, when I was talking with my uncle, I was a bit mad about something like that. And he said, you have become another Vasishtha. I didn't realize the significance of that for a long time until I tried to understand the life of Vasishtha. So, when he said 600, I was just, contemplating it myself.
Sir, I would like to add just one thing.
Okay,
What he has said. Just one thing. We have undertaken the research about the Varna system. And the hypothesis is this, that all the mankind, all human beings, they are classified into blood groups. Right? And there are 4 blood groups, as you are aware of it. Is there any direct relationship of the Varna system with the blood groups? That is the hypothesis. And we are doing research on it, and we have come to certain conclusion after doing a lot of quantification. Since I have also been working as the PhD guide in the University of Pune, we are seriously working on it, and the day will come, by the grace of Lord Krishna, that we will be able to establish some connection between the Varna system and the blood groups. They are also 4, Varnas also 4. Thank you.
Well, I think with that we come to the end of this session. It is just customary, and it's my very pleasant duty to say a few concluding remarks about the whole thing. First of all, we are really very fortunate today to have these 2 learned speakers with us, because It has been a real awakening in so many different ways. I only hope we will have some other opportunity in the near future to welcome them again so that they can spend a little longer time with us for the benefit of our audience. Now, I've got a series of thanks proposals I have to do, which is our present duty. That first of all, the temple, that is Perumal Temple, has been very helpful to us, and so also the staff of the endowment board, who have given us all the help to conduct this seminar today. And as most of you would know, this year we have changed the pattern of this Gita seminar. And I have been present for all the sessions in all these 15 years, except 1 year when I was not in Singapore. Now today I am completely convinced that this new system that our committee introduced this year is a much more better and convenient system, both for the speaker as well as the audience, for the exchange of the views. And here I must thank our president, Mr. Srinivasan, who has worked very hard for all the arrangements. If I say anything more, it becomes a bit embarrassing for him or me, but I don't want to say him except to thank him very sincerely. Like Srinivasan, we have got 3 or 4 individuals who are our mainstay. It doesn't mean that I mentioned some names for vomit. We are thankful to all of them. But for people like Krishnamurthy, whom you see here, please get up. And then Mr. Vijay Kumar, please. Snehkant, who is not here. These are our pillars actually. Without their support, we can't conduct this kind of Gita seminar every year. And all the other volunteers who have helped us in so many ways, including the ladies and gentlemen and others who conducted the different competitions, prize giving, etc., etc. Then our main event will be in the month of February. As you saw on the screen, it will be on 19th February. It will be Havan and Homam, etc. That's one of the major events. This is the second biggest and that's the first biggest. Now all of you, one of them asked me during the tea break, how do we manage financially? That was a very interesting question. I told him we are always open-handed. Our hat is always there and you are most welcome to contribute whichever way you like. This is purely a voluntary type of effort. There is no organization, there is no feeding agency or anything of the sort. The success of the movement is because of the enthusiasm and the hard work of the volunteers and the generous support. So I would just leave a word with you and those who are not here, just to donate whatever you like so that we can carry on this function very well. As all of you know, perhaps Gita Jayanti is the only type of celebration where all the Indians, whether you are a Maharashtrian or a Sindhi or a Punjabi or a Gujarati or a Tamilian or a Kannadiga, you all come together at least once a year. I am very proud of that one. They all come, they enjoy and then absorb whatever the good things that Gita was. This we believe as a kind of real service. When we say Krishna Arpanamastu, this is Krishna Arpanamastu. We are doing it and then we want to do it more and more. And now I am very happy that some of the youngsters like Srinivasan and others have taken over and then it's coming into a very close end. And lastly, there are 1 or 2 things that I should say. There are various associations. For example, the leading organization this year is Maharashtra Mandal. You are seeing the active supporters who have done a marvelous job. And so far this year, whatever they have done in a very glorious manner, and then it's accumulating little by little, little by little. We are very proud of them, having them this year, and I hope the same thing will continue next year also. Lastly, of course, the audience, because without you, nothing is possible, and we're all very grateful. Of course, most of them have enjoyed the tea and gone home, but I am generous enough to excuse them. It's all right, but I will talk to them individually when I meet them. That's a different matter. But anyhow, please come again, bring all your friends and relatives, whoever they are, so that they can come and get the blessings of Lord Krishna. And lastly, I would request Swamiji to say a prayer, unless you want to say something. Okay. Come kindly close it with a prayer. Okay, please.
Anchoring ladies. Thanksgiving, her name. Anchoring lady was over there, at Yale.
Oh, yes. I am very grateful to our Master of Ceremonies, Mrs. of Ceremonies, I should say, for her excellent work that has been done.
Give her a hand for conducting. And we wanted youngsters this year, and she's one among them who is showing her face and making the average age bring down in the audience.
The finest prayer ever said in Hindu Dharma, which is applicable to the entire human world, is Sarve Pisukina Santu, Sarve Santu Nirabhaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Magaschya Dukkhamagni, Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunatu, Saviryam Karavai, Tejasviyavadhitamastu ma vidvishalaye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.